Hello, today Beauty Directory is talking to Matoyla Kollaras from AHAVA. Hi Matoyla.
Hi Janet, how are you?
Matoyla, there are many different skincare regimes around that target anti-aging. What can you tell us about how skin actually ages?
Skin ages in two fundamental ways. The first way, of course, is our internal aging, also known as intrinsic factors or intrinsic aging. And basically, this is our natural aging process. It is because of our genetics. It begins in our 20s, but we don't necessarily see the aging of the skin, the intrinsic aging, maybe for decades. Some of the things that occur due to intrinsic aging include things like there's a slowdown of collagen production, our elastin has less spring, we have a little bit less hyaluronic acid in our dermis in particular, or in our body. A teenager will probably have double the amount of hyaluronic acid that we have in our 40s. We also have a slower turnover of skin cells, so we generally tend to have a little bit more duller skin as we start to age. Healing is also slowed down, and we also have a lot of post-inflammatory pigmentation on our skin due to things such as treatments and products, etc.
What are some of the external factors that do affect skin aging?
Yes. Actually, external factors act together with our natural aging process or internal factors to cause what we call, or what is known as, premature or accelerated aging. The major factor in premature aging is actually caused by UV damage or sunlight. And as we're aware, we have a lot of sunlight in Australia, so we have a lot of premature aging, pigmentation, etc. that's actually caused by exposure to sun factors. That's the major cause of our accelerated aging. Other factors include, of course, pollution and pollutants, smoking, of course, lifestyle factors such as diets. So diets that are high in highly refined carbohydrates and sugars and unhealthy fats also play an effect and have a causative role in the way our skin ages. Of course, then we have gravity. That's another issue. We live in a world that has gravity, so things start to actually fall down, unfortunately. And of course, we have facial expressions, which play a big role in the way our skin ages. You know, facial expressions, we make them constantly. And eventually we end up with crow's feet and lines on our foreheads, etc. from them. And of course, sleep patterns play another role in the aging of our skin. Together, as I said before, external factors act together with internal factors to produce what we call accelerated or premature aging.
Discussions around anti-aging skincare usually cover common concerns like dryness of skin and deepening of wrinkles. But what does anti-aging actually mean to AHAVA?
AHAVA actually takes a different philosophy and a different approach to the age control dilemma that we face. Dryness of skin, for example, does not affect everybody as we age. For a lot of women, in fact, we see an increase in sebum or oil production. We also see acne coming back in our 40s and our 50s. The reason that this occurs is because during menopause, women actually see a decrease, of course, in their estrogen levels. As a result, there's actually an increase, or there's actually an unopposed testosterone levels. And what happens is that women start to have issues with their skin that can be quite uncomfortable in their 40s and their 50s, and that includes facial hair. Then we also have an overactive sebaceous activity, pores tend to become larger, and also we have the onset of acne again. So we had it in our 20s and we're having it again in our 40s and our 50s, which becomes quite uncomfortable and embarrassing for a lot of women. So we created a range of products that help to boost the skin's own strength and own immune system. And that's basically because we have a skincare range of products that's laden with antioxidants that give the skin its second line of defense, also help to build collagen, repair DNA. For us, it's always prevention is much better than cure.
I've just opened up this pot of timeline. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and what the effect of the ingredients are? I noticed the texture is a bit different from a usual skincare product.
Yes. The first thing about the timeline range is that it actually is powered by a complex called the 3D complex. And the 3D complex, as you can imagine, is made up of three major components. The first component, of course, is Dead Sea minerals, or Dead Sea active minerals. Every product in the AHAVA range is a mini Dead Sea experience, because basically we harness a lot of goodness from the regions of the Dead Sea. So the first part, again, as we said, is the mineral skin osmoter, a very high concentration of Dead Sea minerals. Now, the Dead Sea, just for a little bit of background, contains a minimum of 21 different minerals. 12 of those are found in no other body of water on the planet. And minerals are indispensable to the functioning of our system. Yeah. Okay, they're antioxidants, they're anti-inflammatories. they are coenzymes, and really nothing can function without the presence of minerals. And unlike vitamins, which our body can create some of, our body cannot create a single mineral. So we need to look to external sources to get that mineral supply. The function of the minerals in our products, besides the fact that they are antioxidants, they're coenzymes, etc., the main function of the minerals is actually cell communicators. And theoretically, cell communicators are able to tell skin cells how to look and behave and act like younger skin cells should. The second part, of course, of the timeline range is our antioxidant activity. It is vitally important that all good skincare contains antioxidants. There is not one single antioxidant that's better than the other. It's always best to take an antioxidant approach, a cocktail approach to antioxidants in skincare. The major antioxidant in the timeline range comes from an algae that's unique to the Dead Sea and also only found in very salty areas around the world. It's called Dunaliella salina algae, and it's actually, it's a great name.
I don't think I'll pronounce it.
It's actually found only in salty areas. This microorganism, or this plant, has managed to survive and thrive in the Dead Sea for literally thousands, if not millions of years. And in order for it to survive, it's had to basically evolve with very sophisticated mechanisms of survival. Now, the Dead Sea, as we're probably aware, is a very dry place. It's in the middle of the desert. There's more than 320 days of sun a year. So we have the Dead Sea is actually pelted with UV radiation on a daily basis for more than 320 days a year. Average temperatures are about 30 degrees. So this plant obviously had to develop very powerful mechanisms of survival to stop itself from burning in the sun and to stop itself from being damaged by the harshness of UV radiation. So the plant extract part of the 3D complex does several things for the skin. Firstly, it soothes the skin. As we age, we tend to have more inflammatory issues with our skin. So we need to use anti-inflammatories. Anti-inflammatories are very, very important for the skin because one of the reasons that we age in our body and age in our skin is because of chronic inflammation. Things like cancers, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease are all basically implicated in chronic inflammation of our body, and chronic inflammation of the skin breaks down collagen, breaks down elastin, we end up with wrinkles, etc. The timeline range of products have no oil in them. Okay. Now, we did this because for women that are going through menopause and are actually suffering from an over-sebaceous activity and acne, if we created products that had a lot of oil in them, then we would preclude these women. Yeah. If, for example, if we have women that have very dry skin and maybe find that the timeline is not as rich as it should, we can actually add oil to it. We can add one of our other products to it. But by keeping this range at the timeline range oil-free, we can actually target a larger range of women. But the interesting thing about it is that you'll notice if you see that this cream actually has a strange consistency, unlike other skincare creams.
It's quite sticky and viscous.
Yeah, it's quite sticky and viscous. And what it is that it is the plant extracts. So what we've done is that the plants themselves actually prevent themselves from dehydrating by having nearly like a mucus around them, like a sap in their leaves, etc. So we've taken that, we've put that into the timeline products, and when women apply the timeline range onto their skin, they have anywhere up from 8 to 12 hours of locked-in moisture and hydration and nutrients and antioxidants.
Is there any research or are there any clinical trials that support AHAVA timeline?
All of our products in the AHAVA range have actually been clinically researched and developed. What we do is that we actually do a lot of double-blind trials on our complexes and also on our products. And double-blind trials, basically what that means is that we will send a jar A and a jar B to an independent laboratory, or as we actually send it to a place in Germany called Dermatest, the Dermatest Institute. They don't know what's in each jar. So basically they will test each jar and get results from it. So they will send the jar to, 2 jars to Germany, and they will do double-blind trials, and they will test each jar and they'll come back with the results. With the timeline range of products, we found that after 4 weeks of use on human skin, that wrinkle depth was reduced by something like 48.5%, which is quite significant.
Absolutely, it is. So who would benefit most from using the AHAVA timeline range?
Janet, the timeline range has been created for women between the 40 to about 65 years of age. In Australia, we do see a lot more premature ageing, so maybe we would also suggest that women in their mid-30s onwards that have got quite accelerated age skin use the timeline range. So anywhere between 40 to 65, women would actually benefit from using the timeline, because what we're going to do is that we're going to prevent that further accelerated aging. We're going to strengthen the skin, we're going to stimulate the skin's own metabolic activities, we're going to provide a lot of protective factors in the form of high amounts of antioxidants. And basically we're also going to repair anything that may have gone beforehand. For example, there might be some pigmentation on the skin, some fine lines, some fine wrinkles. We can address those issues also with the timeline.
Matoyla, I know there's a hero product in the timeline range because I've actually been using it for the past 2 weeks, and I've found amazing results. I've actually got a more supple skin, and my skin felt moisturised for longer. So can you please reveal all about the secret?
Firstly, with the timeline range, we actually only have 5 treatment products. We don't have cleansers because we do have a lot of very active ingredients in here that simply will just get washed down the sink. So we have concentrated on a treatment protocol. We have a day cream, of course, with SPF factor. We have a night nourishment cream. We have an eye cream, of course, and we have a serum. But my absolute favourite would have to be the ampules that you've been actually using in the last couple of weeks. They're a really special and extraordinarily unique product. Basically what they are is that they are actually a very highly concentrated version of that 3D complex that we talked about before that makes up the powers the timeline range, I should say. So of course we have the cell communicating minerals, and then we have the Dunaliella salina algae, which of course is the algae that's got very high levels of beta-carotene or provitamin A, powerful antioxidant activity. And of course then we have the plant extracts, the jujube tree, the trigonella shrub and the date extract, again more antioxidants, anti-inflammatory ingredients. They soothe, they nourish the skin, and also they provide that lock-in moisture.
Matoyla, whenever I've had a good chat with you, I always feel like I've learned an enormous amount, not just about skincare, but just about the general human body, which is fantastic. But so can you tell me as one last question, have you noticed any specific skincare trends that are happening in Australia at the moment?
Dry acne is something that we never used to see before, but because we're getting a lot of teenagers or younger women that are not getting enough essential fatty acids, they think that essential fatty acids are going to actually make them fat, so they're not eating foods that contain omega-3, 6 and 9, we're starting to see an acne that we had never seen before, which is a dry-based acne. So please, for everybody, they must get their essential fatty acids. Besides the fact that essential fatty acids are vital for healthy skin and skin that glows, because of course it lubricates our body, and also really important for the brain too, especially in younger women, because we're still developing our frontal cortex as we get older, and we need all the essential fatty acids that we can get. And the last trend that we have noticed, and there's been a significant increase, is of course skin sensitivities. And although very few of us, probably less than 1% of the population is born with naturally sensitive skin, what we're seeing is a lot of sensitized skin. And I think it's coming from overuse of products, doing a lot of treatments on our skin that we don't need to do. Of course, also there are a lot of ingredients in skincare. There's a lot of chemicals in skincare. There's also a lot of ingredients in skincare that are actually sensitizing our skin. So I think sometimes we need to take good care of our skin and be kind to it, and never forget that our skin is actually a protective system organ. Without this skin, we would not be able to function. And it's also an immune system organ, which means that if we start to push it too much, it's actually going to have an immune reaction back.
Very wise words, Matoyla. Thanks very much indeed.
Janet, it's been great. Thank you very much.